So this is a slightly fuller video by someone with some intimacy with both Western and Eastern cultures that allows me to touch upon some of the wider issues involved in this matter, which is obviously deeply affecting a lot of people. So I'd like to start by recognising a few things. First of all, recognising that all of us are going through a process in growing through our stuff in terms of adult-child relationships, and also that in the West we have a long history of being conditioned to believe that sexuality and lust lie at the root of almost every human action. I also want to point out that, to my knowledge, we haven't heard from the child or his mother, their mother, and I feel like, I stand to be proven wrong on a lot of things, but also, even if I'm, validated by what they say, a lot of people are so invested in seeing this in a certain way that their whatever they say will be devalued. So the whole context for the way that I'm approaching this starts with a recognition that if you look at a cylinder from one end, it looks like a circle. If you look at a cylinder from another angle, it looks like a rectangle. So with that in mind, I want to point out that still a lot of South Asian students in the West get treated as if they're dishonest because they avert their eyes or shrink away from figures that they revere, even like normal university or school teachers. So the dynamic in this situation was obviously much more intense than that. I also, it's really important that people have only seen, in many cases, a very edited version of this set of events. And in the longer video of the interaction, it starts with the child asking for a hug from the audience, being chided by his mother, who is on the stage, for being too forward. He then gets invited up, gets the hug from the Dalai Lama. The Dalai Lama then goes further, pressing the child's hand to his cheek and saying a prayer for the child's well-being, a very Tibetan thing to do, and then touching his forehead to the child's forehead, which to me is a really touching show of affection. The child participates in that. Then the Dalai Lama says, "Now suck my tongue," which is a Tibetan idiom meaning take even the food from my mouth, I give you everything. And it's a playful idiom, like a kind of would you jump in my grave as quick level of playfulness in terms of idiom. It's a very affectionate thing to say or do. Now, to my Western eyes, I can totally see why people are reacting to this as if the child was feeling uncomfortable and violated in this situation. However, with my Eastern eyes, the child looks appropriately bashful at taking up so much time and having attention from such a revered figure, especially considering that his mother had chided him for his request. Now, all of this raises in my mind a big question that I invite you to consider, which is, have we in Western culture become so culturalized to be unbelieving and suspicious of compassion and love that we jump on such scant evidence to judging someone who is widely acknowledged as an icon of those very values? And I think that's the most important thing here, but I'm going to go a little further and invite you to consider the issues of cultural absolutism here, or colonialism, as it's often said. And I'd actually like to say that for those people that are just overtly owning the fact that they think that their culture is superior or that everyone should behave in the way that people in their culture behave, I commend their authenticity. But I'd also like just point out that even in our lifetimes, everyone's lifetimes, because it's happening quickly at the moment, our cultural values are shifting very quickly. I mean, in terms of, the move from how feminism and trans rights are interacting, for example, and I'm not taking a side on that in this video, but just to point out that there is that conflict. So we don't have any basis for assuming that we've reached at some kind of pinnacle across time. And I'm not sure what the basis is for assuming that we are some kind of panacea culturally across geography as well, or ethnicity, or anything basically. What I would suggest that a much healthier attitude, rather than projecting outward onto a situation of which by definition we have very limited information, is to take a look at our own lives, take a look at the way that we ourselves abuse power when we're in positions of it, and most people are in positions of power at some time, and also examine how we act out of our own lust, and I'm not judging lust here, but I'm inviting you to wonder whether it's always a situation in which it's helpful for everyone around you. My name's Shankar. I help people make the most of modern life through old school yoga.